episode 1 of a month-long feature I'm going to be doing each and every Friday around this time, a little bit after 9. It is Halloween. That means scary things and ghosts in October and all that fun stuff. So I've got some special guests joining me. We're going to talk a little ghosts. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Dan Norvell from the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project.
And I'm Larry Eisler, the same.
All right, fellas, let's talk a little about your project, the Dan Norvell Project as Ghost Hunters. How'd you get started and all that fun stuff?
I started in about 2009 with a team called Small Town Paranormal, which I founded. I met Larry later in 2010, and he and I kind of hit it off, started doing a lot of stuff on the side together. And in 2012, I kind of had enough of the team thing. Mm-hmm. And so I formed the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project, and it was pretty much just me going out and investigating with other teams and doing what I wanted. And after Small Town Paranormal dissolved because my partner was no longer interested in it, we brought the team over to our side, to my team, the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project, and we've kind of been doing it there ever since.
Have you always been interested in ghosts? Is it something that you've done for a long time, or did something spark it, or how'd you get into it?
My first paranormal experience is when I was 13 years old in my hometown of Kirkland. I was walking up to the local record store, and we didn't go there for the records. We went there for the video games.
Okay.
But I was walking up there, and on the other side of the street, there was a gentleman, and it looked like he was wearing a drover coat and a hat, but more of a shadow, and he was kind of trailing the other side of the street, and he turned and walked right through a door into a building that I was walking by, and I was thinking, did I see what I think I really just saw? And so ever since then, I've really had an interest.
Okay.
But I actually started in this to prove that it didn't exist.
Okay. How'd that work out for you?
Well, Larry was with me the first time I got yanked over a fence at a cemetery, and I was a believer after that.
Sometimes you change the mission statement, right?
Sometimes. We were doing a ghost box session with our good friend Marcia Mack from Chicago, and she was down at the fence part of the cemetery running the ghost box, and I was leaning over the fence with my arms over the fence. And Marcia kind of said, you really need to let us know that you're here. And all of a sudden, it felt like something grabbed me by both wrists and gave me a yank right over the fence.
And you're not a little guy.
No, I'm about 6 foot and 285 pounds. And Marcia kind of looks at me, and Marcia, there was a few expletives and what are you doing? And all of a sudden, bloop, I'm over and halfway into the cemetery. And what was it, Larry? For like 4 hours, you could see 2 hand marks on my wrist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were
pretty pronounced.
Pretty red.
So, Larry, what got you into doing the ghost hunting?
Unfortunately, I don't have an exact age.
Okay.
So it was around the same time. I was about 13 in high school. I had a bunk bed in my room.
Okay.
Underneath had a desk and all that stuff for homework, but the top was a full-sized bunk bed. And almost every night, there would be a little face going up over the rail of my 8-foot-tall bunk bed.
Okay.
So I've got a little sibling, my younger sister, Amanda, and I always thought it was her. Well, after a while, as a kid, I started sleeping with the TV on more often, and now there's light in the room. That's not my sister. So it happened numerous nights. Eventually, I moved into my older sister's room, and she moved out, and my younger sister moved into my room.
Right.
And the same thing happened to her.
Wow.
So eventually, I ended up moving out, forgetting about it completely. And then in 2008, I do a lot of video and photo stuff.
Right.
Sent a lot of videos to you. And I got involved with a couple websites where I was basically debunking paranormal pictures and video.
Okay.
And I spent the first year doing that. Almost the same thing Dan said. We're trying to prove that it's not real.
Right.
And 10 years later, we did not succeed.
Again, the mission statement has changed.
Only slightly, yeah.
Yes, it's changed drastically.
I'm talking to Dan and Larry from the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project. So the cool thing about what you guys do, because if you watch, there's stuff all over TV and stuff, and there's some really famous places throughout the United States and throughout the world. But what you guys do is you really stick local. You're local guys, and you hit local places. So what we want to do this month, each and every Friday, and we're going to do Halloween too, is we're going to hit a particular place that is known for paranormal activity here in the Rockford area, which is going to be great.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of great teams out there. There's a lot of great teams here in Rockford. Travis and Chad from Greg, the Ghost Head Soup Group, and then Kathy Kressel at Haunted Rockford. If you guys ever want to go on ghost hunts and stuff, anybody listening, just go hit up Haunted Rockford, because Kathy is one of the best historians, and you want a good time. You can get your haunted fill right here in the state line. You don't have to go to Chicago for it.
No, you could.
Yeah, this would be the month to do it, because she's got one like every other day too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, it's definitely, and that's why we're kind of bringing it up now, because this is a good month to get people started on going. Now, what we're going to do this week is we're going to kick off with probably one of the more famous places for paranormal activity in Rockford. I think probably number one would be Coronado, that everybody knows about. But I think this would be a close number two, Veterans Memorial Hall. And I know you guys have spent some time there and stuff. So can you stick around a little bit? So I want to talk about all the fun stuff that goes in. We've got some audio and stuff to go through. We've got Larry and Dan from the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project. We're going to talk more ghosts at Veterans Memorial Hall. We've got Dan and Larry from the Dan Norvell Project, Ghost Hunters. So we're going to talk about this local ghost hunting stuff you guys do for the next several Fridays in the month of October. And the first place we decided is Veterans Memorial Hall. Let's talk a little bit about the paranormal activity that goes on down there.
The Veterans Memorial Hall is very active. I think we've been there, 7 times? 7 or more times actually investigating it, and we are never disappointed. Larry, you're pretty big on the history. Why don't you tell them just a real quick history?
So basically, the Vets Hall was put into place just so the vets had somewhere to go.
Right.
And it isn't necessarily dedicated to a single war. Like you've got, the Vietnam Club and all that stuff. This is for veterans from every war, including our current ones. So they'll have stuff on display from every single engagement we've been involved with. They have Roosevelt's chair there, which Roosevelt actually sat in. They have a picture of him sitting in this chair when they dedicated the building.
Right.
So the amount of stuff they have in there, which you don't even see half of it because they have an archive room, and they're cycling through their stuff all the time. But you'll walk in there one time and they'll have some exhibit up about Vietnam and all the different cameras and uniform pieces. And I think right now they've got one for combat patches too. And then you'll come back a month later, and it's a whole new exhibit with all new stuff you've never seen before.
But with that stuff becomes possible paranormal energy that could have attached to it.
Okay.
So if you have somebody who might have been killed in action and their family donated their uniforms, or you have vets that are still alive that donated their uniforms, when they're wearing those things, there's a lot of emotional attachment to them. And not only because of being a proud veteran, but also wherever you might have wore that stuff, especially some of the fatigues that they have over there, you probably saw some pretty bad stuff. And, now you donated it to the Vets Hall, and, any kind of that emotion can sometimes stick to that stuff. And a lot of times, those kind of things hold energy, and an entity or whatever that is there will actually feed off of that energy.
So when you go into a place like Veterans Memorial Hall, what do you usually do? I know there's like videos and pictures and sound. What is your game plan when you go into a place like that?
Usually, in the simplest form, it's basically to capture the evidence and prove their existence. Expanding on that, you've got, is there anything you want to tell us? Is there anything you want to be known? Sometimes, you've got situations, not really with the Vets Hall anymore, but you've got situations where no one is there to talk to the spirits for 100 years.
Right.
no one even acknowledges they exist. And then you've got two fat guys that come in and say, hey, let's have a conversation.
Hey, you want to talk?
And they want to talk.
And they want to talk to you.
When you go in to talk to them, but you can't just talk to them, right? You have to have a way to be able to communicate with them, correct?
Yeah, a lot of the times, and being I'm the lead investigator, what's going through my head, to answer your question a little more, was, we'll go in and we'll saturate the whole place with pictures.
Okay.
With regular photographs, with UV, which is ultraviolet photography, IR, and then a lot of times Larry will run the video camera around just to kind of bring everybody up to speed where the hot spots are, where we've caught stuff before, and then to answer the present question, we'll do ghost box and EVP sessions. Now, EVP is electronic voice phenomenon, and a lot of times we don't hear that until we play it back.
Okay.
But with a ghost box, we get the answers right there live, and we know how to respond from the answers we're getting.
So we have some audio that you guys caught at Veterans Memorial Hall. Larry, if you want to put on the headphones there, and then you can kind of explain it to me. You could bring the mic, and Dan, you can move over closer and if you need to. So the first audio I'm going to play that you guys found down there at Veterans Memorial Hall is would you call it a spirit, a ghost? What would you say?
The way that we classify it is, and I'm sure a lot of people do the same. You have the two different types, ghosts and spirits.
Okay.
Spirits are essentially those that have passed on and have the ability to come back.
Okay.
Ghosts are the ones that are more or less stuck and haven't passed on yet.
Okay, so here is what we have is Steve. And so listen carefully and see if you can hear Steve. Do it again.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick one. Here's another one where the spirit or ghost is saying Navy.
That's another really, really fast one.
That's a really fast one. Okay. I think this one was a little bit better. Missouri, right? And then here is one of them saying 3. See, that one you can hear really well.
Yeah, that one comes across a little better.
Now, if you go to your website, what is your website?
It's www.ghosthunterdannorvell.weebly.com.
Okay, you have actual video footage of you guys getting these words spoken.
Those particular responses haven't been posted yet.
Oh, okay.
We had a conference on Saturday, and we had the extreme honor of being able to lead the investigation after the conference.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff, knowing that we were going to talk about the Vets Hall today,
yeah,
I just clipped it out and pretty much just sent it right to you.
Okay.
That's all brand new.
So
brand new, never been shown before.
Okay, so if you go to 9, and it's not quite up yet because I want to put our interview on there too. Later on today on 967eagle.net, there will be the video footage of this. Of you guys going through this, the footage. So if people want to see it, and then they could watch it a little bit more. And I think in the context, but I didn't want to play the whole segment. And in the context, you can hear it pretty well.
Yeah, because those answers, which you guys just heard, Larry asked, what branch were you in? He got Navy.
Right.
What ship did you serve on? The Missouri.
Right.
Right.
How many of you are here? 3. So
yeah, what's your
guys
name?
will,
Steve.
Right,
Yeah.
all those will be able to see that.
All those responses also come with a really cool story too.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we have the building split up, there's 26 guests, if you will,
right?
People that wanted to go on the investigation. I have about 13 or so on the first floor. It's called the post room. It's where they had their meetings. They posted. Dan had the other group up on the second floor by the stage area. He also had our team sensitive Tessa with him. So it was just me and Steve, another one of our investigators, and then Dan and Tessa upstairs with Andrew and Dave. And Kathy. He had the big group. I had the small group. So I'm sitting there asking those questions on the first floor. At the same time, roughly within a few minutes, we suspect, in the second floor, Tessa, our sensitive, is picking up all that information that we're getting from Steve.
Okay.
His name was Steve. He was in the Navy. She heard that he was on a boat, but couldn't make out what boat it was. So for us at the end of the session to go upstairs onto the second floor, and everyone is now sitting together again, and I start saying, okay, well, what did you experience? Someone goes, we talked to Steve. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the room goes, wait,
whoa, we talked to
what?
Wait, we talked to Steve.
And there's no way.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way Tessa could have known the answers because we were doing it at the same time.
Right. In different parts of the building.
We do have walkie-talkies, but because mine was chirping that night, I turned it off.
Right.
So I'd be like, hey, you guys ready? Yeah, we're set. All right, I'm turning the mic off.
Right.
And that's it.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
with the way that the building is set up, we had the doors closed and everything. They couldn't hear us. We couldn't hear them. We weren't loud enough. I wasn't loud enough.
Right.
So how do you explain that she picked all that up at the same time we actually got the answers?
Right. Huh. It's interesting. And like I said, later on today at 967eagle.net, we're going to have some stuff up. The full interview with you guys and this audio, the video of this audio, and links and everything to all your YouTube channel where you have a lot of things and your website. But thank you so much for coming in today, guys. I look forward to talking to you each and every Friday through the month of October. Do we know what we're doing next week?
I know you sent it to me because we figured it out when we sat down. I want to say it might be Stillman's Run and Kellogg's Grove.
Okay, so that's what we'll do next week. So thank you so much, Larry and Dave from the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project. Once again, what's the website, Dan?
Website is www.ghosthunterdannorvell.weebly.com.
And if you Google Dan Norvell, it comes up and stuff.
You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Yeah. Under the same name.
It'll be a lot of good stuff to check out. Thanks a lot, guys. I look forward to finding out about more local ghosts and ghost hunting.